And so the ideas were created, the doctrines, the Bibles, the Quran, all these things were created from these systems to control the human farming. It's just so simple. Do we see the birds and the animals in nature? Do they, submit to anything like this? No, they don't. Not at all. They don't even consider it, okay? Because it's non-existent in their world. And they have the same awareness as you and I. They just simply have different bodies, is all. But for the most part, humans consider animals as a particular, and they're dumb animals, or they're this or that or whatever. No, they have the same awareness as you. They have the same 5 bodies also. So they feel, they react, they see, they have memory, they have intuition, they have instinct, they have everything, even if it's a bug. And this is why when if you have a fly in your house or a mosquito and you try and catch it, they run from you because they don't want to be caught. That's the instinct that they have. It's all very, very real because all life is awareness. It is not about bodies and the situations and the ideas that we have, but we do go through this process. We start off in what I would say is called the literal area. We figure out, according to the 5 bodies, where we are at and what's taking place here. But once we've accumulated those ideas, that is a secondary knowledge. It's not actual, real knowledge, like I'm presenting with the new presentation, where you get to and have the real experiences directly. And this is where we use the new you. It becomes the real connection to the real universes and your real awareness to eventually you wake up and recognize what is really taking place here. So, as we have these ideas of religion, now we have all these ideas about religion and all the rituals and ceremonies and even the voodooism and the Satanism and the demon worship, etc. It gets into all these different areas over lifetimes because of what people have created. Also the binding factor of fear, because down through the ages, if you really study religion, you'll see the fear factor is huge because most people have been persecuted if they don't so-called believe in the gods that have been invented. So people have went through lifetime after lifetime of being persecuted, and if you're sitting there on your knees and they're going to chop off your head, there's a lot of fear and anxiety and adrenaline and everything else and ideas running through your head, running through your mind bodies and your emotional bodies down to the physical. And, once that happens, once they destroy you that lifetime, well, all those impressions are held by you. You still have all those impressions. And then all of a sudden you translate into, you simply just, all of a sudden you're into the astral realm. Many times the individual doesn't even realize that the physical body is gone because the awareness is still there and it's the same. You see, you're just minus the body. And then at some point the individual realizes, hey, oh gee, I so-called died. But it was the body that died. And so because of the emotional attachments and the relationships that have been developed over lifetimes, people want to come back and they want to continue on. They want to try and figure out what's going on with the experiences that they've come through, which makes sense. It all makes sense in this progression of things. So they come back and they start again. You're born into a new body. You're the little baby, and gradually you wake up again into this world here, because for the most part, most people will not explore where they're at in that area. They will just want to simply come back into the physical sense because this is all they've known. It can be just like any of us. We've established a home on the earth and we go out there and we explore, we take trips, but we want to get back home, don't we? We always kind of go back home. But eventually, the bigger picture is that the sky, the endless skies, the endless universes become our home once we understand the whole of life, and this becomes the start of real freedom. But this is a choice we make. And on the earth here, There are implied freedoms. The systems that have been created, the political especially, and the religious systems, are always making these pretty speeches with the people that have been chosen to, manage, that have been rule actually, the human farming. They give pretty words out to the subjects, as the Queen would call them, all the subjects on the earth that are involved in the human farming, give out pretty words to convince them that, hey, everything is okay. It's just kind of like cowboys with a big cattle drive. They want to be nice to the cattle, so they don't just run off and stampede. They want to contain them because there's only a few cowboys and there's a whole lot of cattle. There can be thousands of them. That's the herd, isn't it? So this is the herd instinct. Keep the herd okay, because if they rebel, then we got to deal with it, and it's not good. So it's the very few. You have one politician up there on the podium, and then you've got 10,000 people in the audience. Well, as long as that you can convince them to be cooperative and agree to your deception, then everything is good. But once they start to see through that and they don't like it, whoa, then things start to happen, don't they? And we've seen this. So it's containing the crowd. And this is the idea of what is taking place today. It's nothing new. It's the old age stuff. And the idea of tradition has become very traditional as something special, sacred, holy, whatever. Again, all these ideas have circulated around religion, and if you want them, hey, they're yours. Have fun with them. They simply deal with the reincarnation and karma. People will continue to just continue to recycle with the same old systems, and the same ideas are going on today. People are protesting the systems that they keep agreeing to. It's really rather comical. Those that are in control of the human farming, they've set it up so that it would seem that people have the right to vote for their controllers to keep them in control, and at the same time people protest their controllers. It's almost like, well, we want better control, instead of creatively creating a new position for themselves. They want to change in the system. Well, the system's never going to change. Those that rule the system, they're just simply going to rule. That's it. They're not going to change. So it's not about change, and that's us. This is Worldwide Educators' new presentation, and that is that we're not here to bring change. We're not interested in change. We're not interested in rebelling against the system. We're showing people the way out, the new way out of creation, cause and effect creation altogether. It's really very simple using the new you. This is the directness, and the individual simply becomes more aware and starts to recognize what's taking place, and at the same time they do their own homework and research, so they have a comparison as to what they've gone through, and this will also be shown in their dreams, your dream visions. This is where you gain real experiences, and this is where I've written books and courses, the True Course. This becomes a reference only. These are not spiritual or sacred or religious or political writings. They're simply me sharing my experience using the words that we all use here. I use the English language. It's that simple. We have many doctrines on the earth, and we have especially the so-called religious or spiritual paths. And these many times started off as good ideas, but for the most part, they're all taken over. They're all ruled by human farming. But most people don't see that because they're very one-dimensional. All what they see is they see the master or the guru or the president or the queen or what have you, or the pope, or all these figures. They look at the figureheads instead of the whole of life itself, and they look to these figureheads, which is fine. People look to me and other people that I work with, etc. Well, that's the idea. We're here, but we're all really real beings of real light is what we are. And it's just simply learning to recognize that, or you don't. You have the choice to do it or don't. And as long as you keep agreeing, especially unconsciously, with creation, then you will continue to come back. And this agreement's very, very interesting. And it takes a while to really recognize how this agreement works. And for the most part, even though so much of the masses and the public today know what's going on with the human farming, realistically, they don't see how they are still controlled unconsciously. That's the biggie. So those that rule this earth are not really concerned about what people know. They actually have people out there that are decoys and deceptors, looking like the so-called good guys. It's the kind of the good. It's the good cop, bad cop routine that's taking place all over the world. And it looks like they're opposing the so-called bad systems when actually they're part of it. They're just simply decoys is what they are. And it doesn't take much to kind of recognize what's taking place. And this is very adamant with the political and religious systems and in the campaigning that's taking place today. Yes, all a decoy. That's what it is. Paid actors, etc. They're all paid to be decoys. And as you look at the media, which is controlled by them also, it's more than obvious for me, but not for everybody. They think it's a reality here. Most people think this is the only life there is, so they want to establish their life here, and this becomes their la-la land. Well, for those that don't wake up during this lifetime, all you'll do is grow old. That's all you have to look forward to. You may think in your mind that, oh, gee, I made a lot of money, I've got a big IRA, and, I'm going to retire really, it's going to be great or whatever. Well, fine, have fun with it, because it'll only last a few moments. You're just going to grow old, and then at some point you're going to forget. Because the planet right now is so poisoned and polluted that basically everybody is the effect of that also. What we create, we become the effect of, and everybody must face themselves. So especially those people that are controlling others and create the demise of others, they're also creating the demise of themselves. They must face themselves. So, it's a 1-to-1 thing. So if it's 10-to-1, then it's 10-to-1. Then you got 10 more lifetimes. Or if it's 100-to-1, it's 100. So if you've annihilated 100 people, it could be 100 lifetimes. This gets into a lot, So again, it's multiplied on out, and during those lifetimes, things happen, and it becomes more so. So you see the confusion. So what we're providing here, as we're real, wonderful, worldwide educators, is that we show people how to, get to their real awareness, recognize their real awareness, so that the tap lining and the so-called karma is dissolved, and it's all through the recognition of your real awareness. And there's no special techniques that one needs for this. I started off with the real guides at a particular time, and from then things have progressed to where they are now. And it's just very, very simple. Just simply use the new you. Start off with their words that have been used. The new you is the new sound. There have been words such as amen, Hugh, and others that have been used in the past. Well, these have all been taken over by the reptilians. Whether a person wants to believe that or not, that's their business. Go ahead. It can be tested. It's very subtle. The deceptors are in the real side or the astral world. That's the first stage of the real side. There's a whole lot more to it. It takes a while. This is you might say a lifetime course for people to go through, like a college course, to understand this and gain your own experiences and insight. I recommend that a person get into one of the new groups that we've created. We have them all over the world, and everybody's welcome to start a step at a time. I suggest to first start with the new books. And so it's really not hard. I don't have to continually go over this. I just wanted to give a basic idea, and that is it's not really hard to understand the political and the religious system. If you want to get into the nuts and bolts of it and become a forensic about it, yes, go ahead and dissect it any way you want. These are all invented ideas. It's just really that simple. It's really the intent of the individuals and where does it lead to. And for the most part, the individuals that rule these systems are one-dimensional. and you can see their intent. It shows up on the real side in your dream vision. So as you do the new you, it's so cool, and that is that instead of deciding how life is, and these systems have trained most people to be the know-it-alls, the little know-it-alls, to where they think they know more than life. Well, these are the people that are destroying the planet. It's very simple. It's very obvious. It's right in front of you. Wake up or don't. And this is where, as you use the new you, and you watch your dream visions step at a time, just like going to school, life starts to show you what's going on in your relationship with the bigger picture. Now, there have been many hints through history, and good, bad, or indifferent, and you can label them any way you want. Life is always now, like the sun shining. And once you can start to recognize how this is, you're really going to see the bigger picture, and it's a lot better. It's going to clear away all the deception, all the ideas that don't work. Okay, you can create any idea you want, and just kind of like the piston engine, and it's really cool, isn't it? We get to drive around beyond the horse and buggy days, but at the same time, it's destroying the planet. So yes, it does work, but does it make sense? So there is always a better way. You can always make better choices. You can always become more aware, or you can stay just as it is. And this really is what the invented systems and their rulers want people to do. They want things to stay the same because, again, this is human farming. They want things to stay contained. They don't want you to be free. They don't want you to have real freedom. They want you to believe and accept that you have a freedom, and it's all implied. It's, like I'm in the United States, and the idea is land of the free, home of the brave. Well, that's a nice slogan, but it's not real. It's not real at all. It doesn't relate to anything. It's just an idea. It's like waving the flag. What does that do? Can you eat that? Does that make breakfast? You salute the flag. You do all these things. You can't let it touch the ground. Again, these are all ideas. The end result is what? Get real or don't. Stay the same way. Stay subordinate. Stay a subject. That's your choice. Or learn to be free. Now, it's not that hard. More so than the birds flying in your real awareness. This is what we're providing. More so than the soul idea that you are soul, etc. And again, these things were started off in a particular. There is a much bigger and better picture. And we show you how to do that. And we've created a real position here. Again, we're not protesting. We don't protest. We're not against anyone. We don't battle with anybody. We don't destroy anything. We do the best we can with the world that we're working in. We have humanitarian projects, and as we get agreement, people start to wake up, and they can do better for themselves. So our basic idea here with the worldwide educators and the all-natural environment is real food, real water, and real air. And again, that's a toughie on a planet like this that's totally polluted. We're not here to save the world. The world can't be saved because for the most part, people are already agreeing that they don't want to make better choices. It's quite obvious. We're not here to make people do that or convince them. We're just doing our part because eventually all of us that have the awareness, we will just simply step out of here, out of creation altogether, beyond the gods of man, into the real universes with the all is. So again, it's a choice. So that's the basic presentation. I suggest you do research realistically, because the history that we've come to learn in school is all slanted and distorted, and it's purposely for the fact of controlling others so that they stay here lifetime after lifetime. You will be back if you don't wake up, and it's not me deciding it. It's you deciding it because you've already agreed to it. So as you project ideas that are your so-called future, you're actually unconsciously planning your future, because those ideas are a projection into a consciousness that is created in time and space creation. The reality of life is beyond all consciousness as we know it, even the old idea of God consciousness, etc. The gods of man are the ones that have determined the planets to be like it is, and this is the many sides or faces of the gods that people don't see. So yes, it's a cute idea, God is love and all that, well fine, but that's the emotional attachment and taplining that people have to this idea. And if you want to stay taplined, and you can look up that word in Google and you'll see my books there, you decide if you want to stay taplined with emotional, cute sounding ideas, that's your choice. But that's as far as it goes. Like the sun shining, when you look at the sun, is there belief there? Is there happiness there? Is there emotion there? No, there's none of it. It becomes more so. It's awesome. It's wonderful. Yes. And as you recognize this, this is simply a reflection. This is simply an idea of the wholeness of life. But as you start to see and recognize your real awareness, you see what others don't, and eventually you can step out of here without being restricted at all, and you do not have to come back. Yes, the real guidance is there. The real universal guides are there for those that are the real risk takers. You must be the risk taker. You must do what you've never done before, or you don't. You stay the same, and you just simply grow old. So with that, again, I'm Duane the Great Writer. Simply find us on Facebook, Duane Ava. We're all over. Put me in Google, Duane the Great Writer. Test the new you, sing the new you. It works. It's the real connection, and have fun with that. And so again, we're here for now. We don't know how long we'll be here because the systems of the world don't want us here, but we're for them here. We're here for them too. And that is that if they wake up, they can free themselves. Otherwise, they're going to be coming back, and the environment's going to be worse and worse and worse than it is now, until it's just the world is like a giant sludge, like a big sludge pot. And the comparison is like Mars, where they were once there, and they still are there underground, but they've destroyed all the atmosphere. And that is what is happening to the Earth. The atmosphere is being destroyed purposely. And just like in Independence Day, that's a good movie to see, and there's many, many others that give you an objective view. Yes, this is why they're here. They simply go from planet to planet. They do their human farming. They destroy things. This is the systems of today, and it's very obvious what they're doing. You see the birds and the animals in nature, they don't destroy their environment. You know, they live and work with the natural environment. That's what we do. Yes, and you can do it too. You can make better choices. Have fun.